he could become a lawyer.
I won't listen!
An orthodontist.
The master.
President.
And speaking of evil, we're ready to talk about the final project, and students worry about what kind of questions can they ask that might be considered cheating. There are actually questions that are okay to ask. For example, how do I know when I have an interaction? Asking that question is like saying, can you help teach me the things I was supposed to learn in this class? That's fantastic, go ahead. If, on the other hand, you said, is this specific variable interacting with this specific variable in my data set? That is going to be a problem. Keep in mind, everybody has a unique data set, so different variables might be interacting for you versus for other people. That doesn't mean that it's okay for you to ask someone else to look at your variables and see, are they interacting? Just like it would be wrong to say, how do you explain the effect of this variable in my model? Terrorism being a categorical variable, we'll talk about that in just a minute, but you could instead say, if I have a categorical effect, how do I explain that categorical effect? The difference here being, teach me the concept in general. Over here is saying, for my specific model, how does it work? You could ask, for our code, for example, categorical effects, you might want multiple lines. How do I graph multiple lines on the same graph? That's different than saying, here are the 3 lines. Show me the code that will put those 3 lines on my graph. That's creating the code you need for your specific project. So in general, the rule is, it's okay to ask questions for teach me the concepts. It's not okay to say, show me on my data set with my project what sorts of things I need to be doing. Speaking of how to code things, we could ask, why is my code giving me an error? I'm running this line, it's either not working or it actually gives me that error. What do I need to do to fix it? That's okay, because someone is taking code you have written and saying, you need a semicolon here, or you're supposed to have a comma, or this needs to be broken into 2 lines of code. On the other hand, if you ask someone to send you the code they have, and you're going to say, I'm going to take their code and then I'll alter it for what my data set needs. But you're still starting with their code, and that's the problem. It needs to be your creation. If you created code, it's okay for someone to help you fix the errors and why it's not working, not using someone else's code. In a very similar vein, it's okay for someone to look at what you have written, and they can analyze the English or the grammar, or just does it make sense, because this is what you have made, and they're going through saying, here's what's wrong and how to fix it. Over here, though, how would you explain this quadratic effect? That's asking someone else to write part of the report, and then you will go through and fix or correct or alter what they did. That's considered cheating because it started with their work, and even if you rewrite it or alter it, it's still their creation that you're fixing. It needs to be your creation, and somebody can read through it and say, yes, I like this, or no, that sentence is not proper grammar, and then you be the one to go and fix it, and they can rewatch it. By the way, having someone else read your report is a fantastic idea, especially if they don't understand statistics and haven't taken this class. That's the perfect kind of person to read it and say, does this make sense? Let me show you the #1 question I get, like 9 times out of 10. And even though I'm making this video, I'll still get this question, but we'll talk about it. Do my residuals look okay? And then showing me residuals, and how do I fix them? Because there's something I still don't like. They don't quite look right. I can't get my residuals to look perfect. All right, here is the answer, okay? First off, I do not have some magic key model that you were supposed to find. The computer randomly creates this stuff, and it does it in a messy way, and I can ask the computer to tell me how it made the data. That does not mean that you should or would, or that I would find the same model if I analyzed it. So you are finding your model. There's no answer key. Your goal is to get good residuals and good p-value. And good means the best that you can get. So if you see something you don't like, then it makes sense that you're going to try what you can to fix them. When you have tried everything you can and your residuals are as good as you can get them, that's when you say, this is the best model that I could get because I've tried all the stuff I can and I got good residuals. You are not required to have perfect residuals, and that is very realistic to what happens in real life. Most real data sets don't come out to nice residuals. You work on them, you get the best model you can, you map all the randomness and probability that you can with your model, and then you say, this is the best model I can make. Here's my model and here's what my predictions are.